All right, guys, we are doing it. It's finally time. Season finale. Let's do this. I am ready for the rescue. I still maintain that that ship is wildly untrackable. Oh, the Mando ship. Oh, the meeting with Bo-Katan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just lost some money to Element 7, but, you know, doesn't bother me. It's worth it.
You are not a Mandalorian.
Never said I was.
So he's not a Mandalorian. We can finally put it to bed. Thank you. Whew. He got the biceps.
Enough, both of you. If we had shown half that spine to the Empire...
Girls, get it done. Iron Man moment. Okay.
Incoming craft, identify yourself.
Red 5. Okay, that's Luke. We're getting the light side version of the hallway scene. I'm here for it. Let's do it. Got it with a force crush. I am excited. Thank you everyone for joining me. We just had this awesome season ender, and man, it did not go exactly the way I thought.
It's not going to go the way you think.
I got the two teams. They split up into two teams.
Yes.
I got Luke Scott. That was my guess.
No,
I was sticking with Luke.
I didn't think they had the balls to do it, but they did.
Yeah.
Next season's going to be Yaddle, though. She's going to appear. I feel it.
Grogu's coming back to Mandalorian, just non-starter. That's what's happening. They're not going to let him get killed by Kylo. They're not going to do that.
There's potential for a story arc to happen with Grogu as he trains with Luke, because everyone wants to see the Prime Luke stuff. But then Din, he has to hold up his end of the bargain now. And so I think season 3 is just, he's going to help Bo-Katan take back Mandalore.
Well, I gotta ask though. I mean, is there a season 3 of The Mandalorian, or is what we're getting the next season the Book of Boba instead?
They said it was a Mandalorian. I feel like that's a back end way of announcing the Boba Fett series, because he's missing in all the other stuff, right? And all of a sudden now it's like, here it is. That seemed obvious to me.
Yeah.
All right. I'm still trying to calm myself down. So this is actually specifically what I didn't want, but it's funny because I'm just so floored by it. I so welcome it. It surprised me. I loved it. I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it. I just felt so over the whole Skywalker thing, but I don't know. That was just too badass. But I mean, in regards to the whole first part of the episode, I mean, first of all, the Dark Troopers, 10 out of 10. I loved that. I was when he threw him out of the airlock, I was like, no! I was so expecting more from that. But they came back and it was just like everything that I could have hoped for. Also, the fact that he said that they were third generation might possibly canonize the other, like the phases of Dark Troopers that are in Legends, but that's just, pure speculation on my part. But also the music, that music that they used for the Dark Troopers was like top notch. very like cyberpunk.
I was like, like dubstep is like, like there's gonna be the beat's gonna drop once they came in.
Yeah, it totally caught me off guard. And then, and then with the scene before the Dark Trooper thing, very reminiscent of The Dark Knight. Like, why so serious? Like, did anyone else feel that way? He's like holding Pershing like hostage, and I can't remember what he said, but he was just like, do you want to know something? And I just said in my head, like, do you want to know how I got these scars? But man, okay. But the Luke thing was just, that blew my mind. I could sit here and talk about it for forever, but I lost it when I saw R2. But
yeah,
that was, I don't know what it is about R2 that just gets me in the feels, but it just got me. And I hope that we don't see Grogu to his death. Like, let's pray that Kylo doesn't kill him. But that's,
I mean, someone did the timeline map though, right? Kylo's what, 5 when this happens?
Yeah. But
like
if he takes him to Luke's temple, I mean, like, we all know what happens to Luke's temple. That wouldn't be great.
So we still have about like 20 years until that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah. Grogu could theoretically just hit puberty and just like go off on his own.
He could turn to the dark side, run away.
No, Yoda was a master at 100, so at close to that age, Grogu would just be like, "I'm out, guys."
It's gonna hit a growth spurt at like 20. 20 plus 50.
Yeah, 70.
Yeah.
I have to talk fast. I was all over the place when someone told me that Pedro was nervous for this episode. I was like, no, you just ruined my sleep. And Malo Pedro or something like that. But I want to know what happened with X, because X just disappeared and we don't know what happened. But okay, forget about that. About Luke, I felt kind of disappointed because they took the easiest way possible. And I didn't thought they were going to do that. Also didn't like the CGI that much. It's kind of scary. And we had Sebastian Stan right there. We had him right there, the perfect Luke, and we didn't use it. But overall, I liked it. I also think it's kind of problematic showing Luke in his prime, because it's going to be even more controversial for him in the sequels. And I thought this chapter was over, but apparently it's not. And I'm also really, really worried of what is going to happen with Jin and Bo-Katan, because they're my favorite Mandalorians. I'm not ready to lose any one of them. And I'm shaking. My heart is racing so fast. That's it.
Yeah, it's no. I mean, I would have to kind of disagree and say that Prime Luke is what we need the most right now. Like, everyone, I mean, you guys know I love the Last Jedi personally because of how it explored his character, but I think that was the point of disappointment, was people wanted to see him in his prime, not as an old man like that.
Is that a backdoor pilot?
I hope so.
I hope not. I don't want to see that face ever again.
I mean, it's not going to be
nightmares forever.
It's not going to be deep fake Luke series. It's going to be.
I hope not.
They're going to cast for it.
That was interesting. Just seeing his face like unmoving, like it was just his lips. Like
it really. I'll wait till it's my turn.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me collect my thoughts. I loved Moff Gideon in this episode. I wish we got a little bit more, but knowing that Peyton Reed directed that episode, I could see like the bits of humor that he puts into his directing. And so it kind of eased my nerves going into the episode. I was convinced somebody was going to die. I was like, it's going to be Boba, and that would be so symbolic with what happened today. I thought it was maybe going to be Bo-Katan, but I think mainly what I'm thinking about is like what's going to happen with Bo-Katan and Din with the Darksaber, and how they're going to deal with that, because she didn't look like she wanted to give it up. But yeah, I think I enjoyed it. I was reacting very dramatically the whole time. And then as soon as I saw the Book of Boba Fett at the end, I smacked my hands together so hard. I was like, yes! I'm so excited for more Boba content. I'm very excited for that. But I'm also sad to see Grogu and Din part again. But it's crazy that he took off his helmet for him in front of everyone. And that was such a sweet moment, and like they never looked away from each other. They just kept eye contact the whole time, and it's just such a beautiful moment.
I was not expecting to see Bib Fortuna ever again, because his face is horrifying, and I don't like him. But you know, he was chilling for those past 5 years, as you could see.
Hello, everyone. By the way, I'm here because Brandon and I go way back, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, but not, you know, I'm a little more casual. But anyway, Star Wars and I are about the same age, so I grew up with Star Wars, and I would say that for me, when I saw that X-wing come in, I'm just like, oh my god, 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 like I'm just freaking out, because at that moment I'm thinking, no way, this is a fake out. They're not going to go there. But then it's just like one thing after another. You see the X-wing, and then you see this dark figure get out, and you're like, well, they could be anybody. And then you see the green lightsaber, and you're like, oh my god, are they going there? And then you see like the right hand in the glove, and you're like, oh my god, they're going there. And so, you know, when it got there at the end, I was just like hopping up and down, excited. And yes, it looked a little strange. I mean, I understand where everyone's coming from that. It's a budget issue, I think. Some degree, I was kind of like, well, how are they going to do this, you know, if they're going there? But just hearing his voice and seeing that moment with Grogu was just, I was like, this is awesome. And it does connect directly to The Last Jedi and the sequels, which I was wondering about. Are they going to go there with this series? Are they going to, you know, connect them that directly? But it looks like they are, and I'm actually okay with that. Not a huge sequel fan. Brandon knows this. I have mixed feelings, but I love the fact that this could make those movies even stronger, just like the Clone Wars did for the prequels. I'm totally down for that. If they're going to go that direction, I'm happy.
As long as they keep pushing us to that, this is all one Star Wars, and we can kind of bridge those gaps. Like it's going to be incredible.
I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of like Luke showing up at first, but I think how they did it was pretty well handled. And I think, you know, it was just such a cool scene. And I think, you know, that ending where he's just clearly like, it's kind of a moving on point. What I was really excited about, I think, ended up being the potential to develop Din's character moving forward, because I think if there was anything I felt like this season lacked, it was just Din and his character and where they were going with it. But I think I realize now, I think this season was a lot of setup for, hopefully, if they're doing season 3 with him, that, you know, there could be a lot with him, you know, being able to take off his mask now and maybe feeling comfortable with this. Maybe he's questioning his relationship with his Mando clan. He has, you know, the Darksaber now, and he has that relationship with Bo-Katan. So I think all of that is really interesting to make Din a stronger, more nuanced, more developed character. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for, the Boba show. I think that's something that fans have been wanting for a long time as well. So I think that was good.
Yeah. It's all great. Mateus?
Yeah, so I have such intense mixed feelings about this episode. From the entire time we've been talking about it, I've wanted Luke. I had, I don't know if it was really that I wanted him, but I just had this gut feeling that it was going to be Luke. Because I'm like, if Ahsoka is going to be the little appetizer, then it's not going to be Ezra. It's not going to be Cal Kestis. It has to be someone huge that all Star Wars fans will know. And that was kind of where I was at. And the episode, story-wise, was absolutely incredible. I loved it with all my heart. But I've never felt such a sense of uncomfortableness and sadness from when I saw Luke's face and there was nothing behind his eyes. It was a really hard moment for me because I always hate when people like talk about CGI. I'm like, it's the story that matters. It's, forget it. Black Panther is like my favorite superhero movie, and everyone goes on about the CGI. I'm like, forget it. But this is the one time where I really felt like there was nothing. And this is, to me, I don't want to be a bummer, and I hate saying anything negative about Star Wars in general, but it was a really hard experience because for me, it made this moment of seeing Grogu go to one of my two favorite Star Wars characters and probably one of my favorite fictional characters of all time and feel like he was going away with this monster. It felt uncomfortable. It felt really gross inside. It wasn't until R2 showed up that I became okay because I could link this mannequin with Luke's face projected on it to, ironically, a little, robot that had more humanity than Luke did. So that was a really hard thing for me. I don't know if anybody else felt that way. I think it was also hard because I know I shouldn't have expected it because it's kind of a crazy proposition, but it just kind of felt like the stars were aligning for Sebastian Stan to be Luke because their facial structure is the same. And it was also hard because as an actor, I'm watching this character with so much depth and history show none of that. It was really weird. So the episode, the story, what happened was incredible. I loved all of it. Miwala Wanga. But that really, it felt like a ghost walking through me, and it really threw me off of the episode. And so I feel like looking back, just talking about what happened, I love everything that happened. Luke showing up, when the X-Wing showed up, I jumped out of my seat and I was crying. I was so excited, and that action sequence was incredible. I was so happy, and he took off the hood and I just got shivers, and it was just uncomfortable. But yeah, so there's my little downer moment. But God, the moment when he took off his helmet and it was just beautiful, and Pedro Pascal was acting the shit out of that scene, and it made me so happy. And it was really weird because it felt like I was ready for, I knew that I didn't want him to leave, but it felt like he really shouldn't have gone with Luke.
I could definitely see, as being an actor, you probably have a lot more focus on the facial expressions of the characters. And yeah, that was a little bit off. I mean, I think of Luke's face at the very end of The Force Awakens, with just standing on the hill and you're seeing all these expressions and different emotions rolling off of him over and over again. And again, like Pedro Pascal did the following scene. And not seeing it was weird, but I feel very strongly that after a rewatch, I'm sure it'll look better for everyone. This is just pent up expectation. So I feel safe saying after a rewatch, it'll be much better.
I absolutely loved this episode. I was, and I think you were too. We were completely off on all fronts. They split into two parties, but that's just a small little thing that I'm clinging on to for some credibility here. I did not expect Luke. I narratively didn't want Luke, but I appreciated it nonetheless. I was like, they really went there. They went with Luke. And we finally have our light side version of the Rogue One hallway scene. And that was just an incredible sequence. I was, super elated as that scene was playing out. I was like, he's getting, this is the antithesis of Darth Vader's scene. He's getting his own. And it was just incredible. Did they ever confirm what planet they landed on to call for Bo-Katan's help?
No, I didn't see that.
That looked a hell of a whole lot like Lothal. And that might just be kind of like a sprinkle or some salt and pepper to think about. Yeah, and just like the whole boarding party sequence was awesome. The Bo-Katan Darksaber Din thing, I think this is a non-starter. It was just to create tension in that one little thing. I don't think it doesn't have any legs, because I know we say in Filoni we trust, but if Filoni ever watches this, plot hole if it does have legs, because Sabine won the saber from Gar Saxon and gave it to Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan accepted the Darksaber willingly. There's precedence for it. She doesn't have to fight him for it. So I think that was just a little bit of attention for the episode, and I guess the next season is just Din has to hold up his end of the bargain. We're going to go to Mandalore, and I think that, to me, narratively has the most legs, is going to Mandalore and creating and making the Mandalorian this bigger thing about Mandalorian culture and being in that space for a whole season. And I think that's where they're going to go. I might be completely off like I was in this episode, but that's what I'm hoping for. So yeah, that's it.
There literally are no words at this point for what I'm watching. It's like I was right at the end when the X-Wing turns up and stuff. This is why it sort of makes sense for it to be Luke for me. Is like my stepdad like walking past the couch behind me, and he's not watched anything Star Wars outside of the originals and the prequels. And then when he sees the green lightsaber and Luke, and he's like, oh shit. And it's like, it's so much bigger than just like, which Jedi should it be? Because it's like, it's bridging. We know what happened in the originals, but apart from him in the sequels, it's like bridging that character for me and making him seem more whole. I know his face was a bit off, should we say, but like, I think just any Luke is good Luke, in my opinion. It could have been him with his hood up the whole time. I didn't care. I just wanted to see him.
Yeah. And man, okay, I have a quick question for everyone. Did anyone cry when saying goodbye?
Came close.
Too
much shock.
I got really close, but my ADD was just thinking about Luke's face. It was really messing
I have a whole video reaction of me just sobbing.
Yeah, I posted a video of me. It was just like the smallest clip of me crying and then crying harder when it said it was Mark Hamill who did the voice.
Yeah.
Because that just solidified it for me.
Yeah, I was checking the credits for that specifically.
Yeah.
You'll see my reaction. I got close to the edge multiple times.
I heard somebody was crying on a live stream. I don't know who it was.
It was Star Wars Theory.
Okay.
Yeah, he was crying his eyes out.
Not
The
surprising.
Grogu goodbye that did me in. I was like, he touched his face. I was like, this is too much.
Hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm using the crappiest headphones known to man. So I want to bring up all of the women together. That was so cool. I was so pumped. JB and I were watching together and we both cried. Sorry, JB, if you didn't want everyone to know that. I was crying so much.
my hand went up. I'm totally okay admitting that I was crying in this episode.
Yes, no toxic masculinity here. Yes, I thought it was really beautiful, like cinematographically, however you say that word. JB and I both said like the ties were beautiful. I think JB said something like, "This is more beautiful than any like movie of them." It was just, I really loved this episode. I don't want to talk too much, but yes, the gals. I cried a lot with Baby Yoda leaving Grogu, and yeah, I thought it was beautiful.
Awesome, I love it. And JB.
Well, I'm gonna just parrot everything Megan just said. When they deployed the TIE fighters, like that scene of them like moving it over and like launching them out was to me like the prettiest Star Wars I've ever seen. And with the budget they have for an episode versus what they have for a full-on movie, I have no idea how they were able to accomplish that. This is probably my favorite episode of any Star Wars media, and it was my inauguration for showing my new brand new baby, so we can watch it together. So it made my heart like explode the entire time. I loved it so much. But I just want, his name is Darth Small. Thank you. I just want Baby Yoda to turn to the dark side. Maybe he runs away. Maybe they have another
It would make more
trilogy.
sense.
Maybe they have another trilogy and he's the bad guy and you can't beat him because he's so cute. Like, why? You have to let him win.
He doesn't age, he just hardens.
Exactly.
Wait, you'd only be like a kid though. You'd only have like the mind of a kid then.
Yeah.
Imagine him with spider legs.
I mean, tell me that in episode 7 and episode 8, Kylo didn't have the mind of a kid the entire time. And still, he was able to conquer a good chunk of the galaxy. So yeah, I'm cool with it.
But filming wise, it would have to be all like long shots of just like
just skittering,
like, huge tin, and just being like.
By the way,
jump around like Yoda.
Am I the only person that's constantly confused at like Grogu's walking speed? How fast is he?
No
He's so slow. He's so slow.
Comfortable thought.
He's got like Michael Myers from Halloween vibes, where he walks super slow, and then you look away, you look back, and you're like, "Oh, he's here."
Yeah.
And we thought Yoda was slow. Yoda is so much faster than Grogu.
He walks like he just waddles so wonderfully.
And then when Yoda has to fight clones, he just runs.
Yeah, it's like
you know how the story group says that hyperspace is the speed of plot. That's what Grogu is.
Yeah.
Like Yoda like literally limps around with his cane, but he always shows up on time. That's what it is.
Also, was I the only one who was expecting Grogu to do something and he didn't?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must have drained him.
Yeah, after the Stormtrooper game of volley Stormtrooper, I was waiting for him to.
He just gave a bunch of blood, and they probably didn't give.
That's true. Yeah.
The one
But
strong.
he force choked Cara Dune. I was hoping he would do that with Moff Gideon.
The
We
one
did see a
strong
force crush,
power,
though.
Yeah, what that I was expecting was that very last Dark Trooper, and I did it on camera. I was like, "Come on, just crush him!" And then just saw him start to crumble. I was like, "This is all I wanted. This is everything that I wanted out of this episode."
Like the moment before the X-wing came, I was like yelling at Baby Yoda through the screen. I was like, "Just sacrifice yourself for everybody. Just do something." And then I see the X-wing, and I just freaked out.
Yeah.
Travis,
your thoughts?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like when Grogu had his hand on the screen, he was at least trying to use the Force to help the Jedi. I mean, he had a lot of experience, I guess.
When he had his hand on the screen, it reminded me of the worst scene in X-Men Apocalypse, where Apocalypse puts his hand on the TV screen and he's like,
"Relax, Chaco, relax.
I'm learning." And you're like,
yeah.
Why? How? Travis?
Okay, so my reaction. Okay, first off, my cousin Sean owes me $30 because we bet on Luke, or I bet on Luke. He bet on Mace Windu. Idiot.
It's a weird bet
to take. So, yeah. So my first reaction. Oh, by the way, I wore like the perfect shirt for this too. By the way. No, I don't think I've been. Every episode I watch, I'm like drunk and I'm happy and I'm loud and I'm screaming and I'm laughing the entire episode. This episode, I don't think I've ever been drunker or happier or louder. It was amazing, and when he uses his Beskar spear against the Dark Troopers and just like rips his head off, that was badass. and then when they showed like the rest of them like trying to get through, or they came back out of outer space, that was awesome. Did you notice when they were on the platform, Bo-Katan and her sidekick, like they like pretended to like fall and like fall into outer space, and then like the stormtroopers actually fell in outer space, and then they like came up. That was funny.
There was a few things that were just they felt odd about the ship in general. Like, why does this room vent to outer space? Or this walkway seems oddly precarious. Like,
I know.
What are you launching like, from here? Is
like,
this where you?
Yeah, I was like, you still have gravity in this room when there's no floor.
Well, you still had the shields, but yeah. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. We'll definitely have to discuss more. But Sawyer, can we get your thoughts on it?
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I loved it. I mean, I was hoping for Luke. I have yet to watch Rebels. Some of you in this chat have already got on my ass about that. But I have yet to watch it. But yeah, I never really thought that they were going to go with Ezra. I was hoping for Luke. I'm happy they went that way. But again, that CGI. And I think for me, the most disappointing thing about that is like, even just from the investors meeting from last week, like you can tell that they have all of this stuff planned out. So the fact that they didn't have an actor for Luke just really didn't make any sense to me. Like, because obviously they have a direction for that. I don't think they would have made a choice that bold without having some idea of where that's going. So I think for me, mostly it was just disappointing because I feel like they didn't just throw that in there to have that be the finale. Like that is obviously going somewhere. So yeah, that kind of sucked. But at the same time, I was really happy that it was Mark Hamill who did the voice because that would have, I think, enraged me and everyone else even more. But I loved it and I cried a lot. And I really loved Moff Gideon in this episode. I really did not know. I did not get I mean, I'm not supposed to get a positive vibe from him. He's the villain. But last season, I didn't like him as a villain. I didn't like the way he was presenting himself as a villain until he pulled out the Darksaber at the very end. But this episode, I think he was fantastic. And yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering, though, if we are going to see Thrawn or not. I'm wondering if they are going to introduce that in the third season or if they are going to leave that to the Ahsoka show. Because obviously the rebels are in custody of, or the Republic's in custody of Gideon. So I'm wondering if we're going to see Thrawn next. But yeah.
Yeah, and my money is still that that's going to pop up in the Ahsoka show. But Jordan, where are you at?
I'll try to keep this short. So everyone, I don't know if I've spoken to a bunch of you here, and like probably some have seen my videos. Like I know I was like iffy on Mando this whole time. Like if I spoke to you guys after the Ahsoka episode, and because I just didn't see where everything was going, I watched this episode and like it all just kind of got put together and wrapped up really nicely, and was like, I get it now. That's what they were doing, which is a really nice thing to see, and like. The entire episode, I loved it. Like I loved every last second of it. And I think, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Giancarlo, what's his last name? Esposito, yeah. Incredible performance. Like, that was just amazing. I love Moff Gideon now. He's just like a lesser Thrawn, in my opinion. Just like everything Thrawn is, but just not there yet. And it's just great to see. Like, I get it. And then when Luke Skywalker showed up, like, I saw the X-Wing, I was like, no, they're not doing it. I saw the glove, I'm like, no, they're not doing it. I saw the lightsaber, I'm like, they didn't do it. And then I saw his face, I'm like, they didn't do. I didn't believe it till I saw R2, and I was screaming until afterwards. And like, I uploaded a video of just me screaming earlier, like pure, like full joy. And like, I think this, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the sequels. Like, I like them, but I'm not like biggest fan. That just felt like Star Wars was back to me. I don't know how to explain it. Just like, it felt like Star Wars was back. Like, I haven't been that, like, even with Clone Wars season 7, I was like super, super happy and like genuinely just so happy. But it felt like a one-off thing where they were like, no, like, we did this for you guys because we want to do Ahsoka later on. Like, that's what it felt like. They were just like giving us like a little bone so we could have stuff later on. At least my opinion. I love it. Literally every second of it. I grew up on that show, but like, this just felt like Star Wars was back. I don't know how to say that. Like, I just feel like,
yeah, it's the OT nostalgia.
Yeah, and I agree with you 1,000% on that one. You know, it's like, it's I always go back to what Ewan McGregor said in the interview about the Obi-Wan show, where he talks about, you know, when the prequels came out, they weren't much loved by, you know, my group, but the people they're intended for, the next group of fans, really loved them, and that's why he's stoked to come back and play him. And I love now that we can have new Star Wars for all three groups of fans that are, it's aimed for OT stylings, and like they even, you know, on some of the creatures that are CG, they make them look like they're stop motion in order to mimic the feels that you got when watching it in the original trilogy. And then you know, we're getting stuff like Bad Batch, which has, you know, the Clone Wars vibes. We just had that holiday Lego special, you know, for the sequel fans. I love that there's something for everyone, and as they just keep pumping this stuff out, I don't know.
Yeah,
sky's the limit.
It just, like, I don't know. It just felt like Star Wars was never gone, but it never felt like the same with the sequels. Like, it just felt like everyone was fighting all the time about something. Like, even if you liked everything, you had like a differing opinion. And then my favorite thing is, like, I've never been the biggest fan of Baby Yoda and Grogu. Like, I just didn't really get his story. Like, he was cute, but it was a plot point to me. Like, it was like cool, but like, I want to learn more about Din and Mando. That's also me just growing up on Clone Wars and just falling in love with Mandalorians. Like, that's what I grew up with. So that's my personal opinion. And now I'm just like, I see where this is going. We're now going to get the Mandalore whole thing with that. And Baby Yoda safe with Luke. And I'm just really happy that like all these stories can happen and be intertwined and together. Like, I love Baby Yoda and Grogu. I just never understood where it fit in the story until now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, it just wrapped it up in a nice blanket. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
I think, I was just going to say, I think what, at least for me, seeing Luke and especially seeing R2, that kind of gave me that same feeling as I felt when we watched Leia's message to Obi-Wan again in The Last Jedi. Kind of got that same exact feeling of nostalgia that just made everything feel just perfect.
Cohesive. Yeah.
Yes.
And it didn't feel fan servicey. It just felt right. I don't know how to explain it. It just didn't feel like fan service. It just felt perfect.
It was weird that I feel like for everybody, R2 was the connecting tissue.
Yeah.
There's something about
connecting tissue
that droid. I mean, the whole thing is him. I mean, he's the reason it all happened.
He's the main character.
I mean, the original.
He grounded it for me.
Yeah. He's been in all the trilogies, right? And
yeah, he's even behind you. R2 is everywhere.
That was so wholesome.
Mateus, I think I said this to my friend earlier before I joined the call. The reason I think R2 did it is because we were all kind of in shock that they went there. You know, like, it was just kind of like they did that. They put Luke there, and like we all thought it was going to be an Ezra or a Cal, just somebody to wrap it together to make like new Star Wars, and they were just gonna be like
Right.
sequels don't exist. But the fact that Luke showed up, we were just like, no, that didn't happen. And then you see R2 and you're like, wow.
Well, I
Wow.
think they knew that no matter what, we know what Mark Hamill looks like now. No matter what, we're gonna know it's CGI. I think they needed something tangible for us to really connect if they didn't get us with Luke. I think that was a really smart choice on their part, because that turned it around for me, who had annoyingly too many feelings about it.
Well,
you know?
I'm going to take the opposite approach, and that's just it was just good lore, because as we know, the last time Anakin told R2 to wait, he did, and never saw Anakin again.
Mm-hmm.
And now R2 just never waits. You know, he gets on Dagobah. He's like, "Hey, stay here." Just jettisons, falls into the water, and like R2 follows him everywhere because he doesn't want to let him go, and this is no exception. So I think that's more where we're going with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick, because I know, Isaac, you have work in the morning, so I want to hear what you think
Through work, I'm gonna be all right.
Well, what do you think we are? Any predictions of what we're going to see for next season?
Are you asking me or just in general?
No, you, Isaac.
Predictions for next season. Well, I mean, a lot of people have said things already that I agree with. I mean, I think we're going to see the Mandalorian is the title, right, of the show, and I think that Mandalorian lore will become the focus in the third season to a greater extent, where it really is the Mandalorian. I mean, we're talking about that culture, but at the same time, I could see them doing, kind of going back and forth, which is to say, you could see Grogu with Luke doing training, kind of like Empire Strikes Back kind of scenario, and then interleaving those stories together. So it comes back together. The two of them come back together. I mean, he will see him again, that's for sure. But at the same time, I can see them trying to, separating them for a while and allowing it to make the series even grander, even bigger. And didn't they say that all these different shows were going to come to a conclusion? I mean, they're going to have their Marvel moment, where they bring everything together. So it kind of feels like that's what they're leading into as well, is they're going to try to bring everything together in some grand scheme, which we don't quite see yet, but that's just my guess. That would be my feeling, is that those are kind of the tiers for the third season, and I could be more excited, honestly.
Well, I mean, they are doing the Rangers of the New Republic, this next show, and the Ahsoka show together. So they're going to be filming them kind of at once and using the same stage thing that they're using, and it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau on all three of those projects. So
I have to wonder about Rangers, if that's going to be like the 4 badass women that we saw in this series. I'm like totally down for that. Like, please. But anyway, just go ahead.
Girls getting it done.
Star Wars girl gang.
I think it's going to be, I forget his name. It's the other pilot with Dave Filoni. I forget his name. It's probably going to be him, because there's an interview where Dave said, "I have a part for you," like a larger part than just like a small little like cameo role. And I think they introduced the pilot with Dave Filoni in the show, and he's going to be part of the Rangers of the New Republic show. So I think that's why they've been making cameos, so they go into the show, because it says like people out and about.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Wants to be the main character.
Well, we know nothing about it, so yeah, it's where we're all up in the air. Yeah, real quick, let's do our predictions for the future, and then closing thoughts. Also, real quick, Bernardo, is your thing working now? Can we hear you? I can't hear you. Sorry. We'll come back again, but I still can't hear anything. No worries. Let's go for.
Wait, Quentin is asking to go in the chat.
Yeah. Quentin, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, he said he was gonna type and then Sawyer was gonna read.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
So we could probably like wait for.
Okay, I have to.
Work makes the dream work, guys.
I have to talk quieter, but can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So he says, I'm lying here depressed because you all know how big he is on Rebels. So the fact that we're not getting a sequel and the fact that we didn't get Ezra hurts. But he's currently looking sad like Grogu. Don't get him wrong, he was enjoying the episode, but he really hoped Disney would walk away from the Skywalkers. But I bet if I rewatch the episode, I'll like the Luke part more. Now, yes, although The Last Jedi is my favorite, the CGI in this scared me just like Leia's CGI in Rogue One. I love the part with the gun jamming. I thought it was kind of funny, but I'm also nervous that there are going to be gatekeepers saying that they're pushing feminism.
Mm-hmm.
But I also predicted Din to take his helmet off. Also, I'm not sure how I feel about Bo-Katan, but I wasn't big on her character that episode. Like, she was really arrogant, and I feel like she won't accept her faith, and I also feel like she'll try to kill Din in the future.
That's interesting. No, I did like how they really did set up in the beginning of the episode that, yes, we have a bunch of people coming together, but all of them have very different goals that are just aligned for the time being. And it was interesting to see that interplay. But V, predictions going forward, what do you want to see? Closing thoughts?
So so with this episode, and if we would have saw Thrawn, I would not be in this situation right now. I'd be like in another area screaming my head off because I wouldn't be able to take it. But with that being said, like there were a couple of things that Gideon kind of did that made me think that Thrawn was somehow involved, just the way that he was just kind of like tactfully thinking of the situation of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to give you the dark saber but then this is going to happen and this is going to happen. So it just kind of makes me feel like Thrawn is somehow involved with Gideon. And that makes me think that he might be involved in a third season. If there is a third season, they didn't officially announce a third season. Did they? Did I miss that? Or they did?
They announced a third season coming out next Christmas. But my question is if the third season, if it's truly The Mandalorian, or if that is what the book of Boba Fett is going to be, because that's the same time period. And I'd be shocked if they did two shows simultaneously like that. That
would be really interesting.
The background image behind Captain Kennedy after all the announcements said The Mandalorian. It didn't have there was that title. So,
but I mean, there's no way they would hint at that,
right?
You know what I mean?
This is just me looking probably too deep into things because Dave Filoni did work on Avatar, and seasons were called books. Do you think we're gonna get like a small little Boba Fett arc within season 3?
That's what I was thinking it could be.
Because like 4 episodes, Boba does only Boba stuff. It links
Boba
up
do Boba.
Boba do Boba for 4 episodes, and then we just go right into like right after. Oh, sorry, right after we left to see the thing. That's season 3. You know, we already saw where Boba is. We already saw where everyone is, and just. You know, he worked on Avatar. He called seasons books there. So like maybe like, you know, that's where he got the naming from it. Me looking too deep into things, but yeah.
It's an interesting thought. I feel like if they went that direction with the Mandalorian and went into Mandalorian lore and taking back Mandalore and all that stuff, I just don't, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm not imaginative enough, but like, I just don't see that taking a full season to close up. I mean, granted, I'm not very well versed in the whole Mandalorian thing, so I can't really speak on it. But I will have to go back and watch like the Clone Wars and Rebels and those particular arcs for it. But I just with Gideon specifically, like, do we think that he's actually the big bad? Like, because we talked about him not being the big bad, that there was someone else, and I mean, I still think that that's Thrawn, but like.
This
I don't know.
Ahsoka
I
show
haven't
kinda threw that
seen-
off. Because
Wait,
now
what?
everyone's like, I think we were all thinking that, and then the Ahsoka show announcement kind of made us go like, oh, I guess that's where Thrawn's going.
Yeah, I'm conflicted about Gideon being the big bad. But
I hate. Go ahead.
but you go ahead. You go ahead.
No.
They didn't introduce that. They did not introduce another big bad or another story thread that would continue in the same vein. Wasn't quite introduced here, so I don't know. I mean, we shall see.
I hate to be that guy, but Palpatine. That's where I'm thinking this is going.
Yeah, after all, he's the bad guy.
It just
I
like
definitely didn't feel like they wrapped that up.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I got the blood. Okay, and
I'm thinking Snoke, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
Snoke
too.
is what Grogu is being used to.
Yeah.
I mean,
it could be just like a couple of different arcs in the last season or whatever, and that would.
But everyone is Palpatine, though. Snoke's Palpatine. Everyone is Palpatine. I don't know who to trust.
Also, if Mando's gonna be the connective tissue like Clone Wars was to the prequels, it would only make sense for like Gideon to be a follower of Palpatine, and his main goal is to just bring back Snoke. The reason I'm saying Palpatine is just like, well, we all know how that ended up. Yeah, so just hey, this is a Palpatine clone, but ends up being Snoke.
I mean, it's certainly possible. I kind of chalked it up to, this is where they were trying to get that genetic material from, and not that we have to fully explore that arc, but there's two types of people: those that can extrapolate from incomplete details, type of situation. But Vanessa, your predictions, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with what V was saying about Gideon. I don't think he's the big bad, and I wish there was more of him in this episode, especially with like the Beskar Darksaber fight. It just didn't feel like enough for me, and maybe they're gonna have him more in Rangers of the New Republic with Kara, but I don't know. It seemed like they were leaving that open for more there, but like Isaac said about them going to Mandalore, I wonder if they're going to do some sort of brush up of Mandalorian history, because it's all in legends and it's very abstract and complex, and like the only way that you can learn about the whole thing is like 1 hour long videos on YouTube, and you're like trying, it's like all this back and forth. So not going like a whole season about like all the different wars and all the different leaders, but maybe like how in Rebels they had just the short, like the brief little cartoon about Tar Vizsla and the history of the Darksaber, just to make it simple and to make certain things canon, and for Din to also like understand and explore the history that he obviously doesn't know because he grew up in a cult. But yeah, those are, I guess, more hopes than predictions.
Yeah.
My name is Din Djarin, and I'm a cult survivor.
Yeah. How about Emily?
Yeah, I think going forward, like I said, I think I'm most excited to see where they could take Din as a character. I think if we're going with, they're going to go to Mandalore, they're going to establish more of the Mandalorian lore. I think that'll be significant for his character and kind of opening up his worldview as like kind of that really narrow Mandalorian view. I think also I think at this point too, it's interesting his character might lack purpose. Because without Grogu, that's been for the whole 2 seasons, that's been all he's been focused on, is protecting the child, getting the child back to his kind. So I wonder now, there's this weight in him that like, do you go back to being a bounty hunter? Does he, go to Mandalore? What does he do? That's what I'm excited for. So, but I'm a really big character person, so I would say that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I definitely had the same thought, because like this has been his driving motivation. That's opening him up to the world. But who knows? I mean, maybe he'll fall in love and swing by that first planet, pick up that one chick, and I don't know. You never know.
All Star Wars love stories are toxic. He can't get involved with any. We don't need
just pick up.
Yeah, we don't
He
need.
just he gets another kid immediately too, because I think Omera had a kid, didn't she?
Yeah.
Immediately said to be a father. He is all good.
Yeah, for predictions for me, I think Grogu's coming back to him. I have no doubt in my mind that there's going to be some sort of complication, or and maybe it's we go a while really dealing with Din, confronting himself and dealing with Mandalore. I think we'll probably learn a lot more about him as a character. But I think Grogu's coming back to him. I don't know how they're gonna do it exactly. It's interesting how you could end the show here. Like, that last shot is he accomplished what he set out to do. I don't want them to. I don't think they will, but it's fun to think that they could. I like when stories have a ending. If someone died tomorrow, they got to see a full story.
I think that they should, personally, but that's just me.
Yeah. You think they should end it here?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can continue with your wrap up. I don't.
No,
I'll give my spiel at the end.
I've talked way too much. I'm happy to not talk at people and talk.
Well, I mean, we got the show started. The show was given to us as this lone wolf and cub show, and that's what we got from the first episode of him finding this child. Mm-hmm. And then, but he has this creed, he has this way that he has to do things. He gives the child and then he feels guilty, right? So that's the first kind of, chink in that armor. Goes back and saves him against it, but he gets his group of bandos to support him with that. Well, he loses them. He loses that support group. It's him and the child, and we see him getting further and further from it. But the arc that was started, the whole thing that was promised, has been completed. And we got to meet a lot of new and interesting characters, especially here in season 2. And I think that if we switch focus and have the camera follow some of these other people like we are actually getting, he can still make appearances in their story, but I feel like this part of his story may be complete. But who knows? If they go back to Mandalore, I know. I just think without the child, it'll be a different show, and that's the main reason I didn't think it was going to be Luke, because I felt like if Luke shows up, then he has to give away the child. And if he gives away the child, then that might end it. You know what I mean? That's why I was banking against that, but that's okay. I'm happy either way. I mean, I just like good story. But Meegs, your thought?
I completely disagree with you, respectfully. I want more Baby Yoda. I want to see Mando more in his dad role. I thought we got a lot, like some good bits of that this season, and I thought it was adorable. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Agreed.
No, I'm not saying I don't want it.
No,
I'm saying, I hope that's clear.
If we were to separate what I wanted to happen and what I think should happen story-wise, we have a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we separated what we wanted and what we think should happen artistically, then Last Jedi would have done amazing with fans.
That's true, but that's a different topic that we're not broaching here.
Can
no arms.
I will be doing. I'm almost to the Last Jedi in the High Ground podcast, so I'm excited to get to that point.
I'm listening to
that. JB, hear your thoughts, and also you're not supposed to get them wet. That's why they multiply. You don't get them wet. You don't feed them after midnight.
We were talking about it in the chat. I've bought so many of them that Amazon literally told me I can't buy anymore. I tried, and literally when I go to check out, it's like, sorry, you've bought too many of these, and it removes it from my cart. So
they're like, this guy's selling them. He's doing some shitty
I gave one to like everyone I know for Christmas. So
Jeff Bezos has a picture of you in his office with a circle and a line through it.
Well, you guys have got your baby Yodas, and I'm here with my actual Yoda.
Ooh, that's amazing.
As much as I don't want to say it, because obviously I love this character very, very much.
JB, don't you dare, JB.
I think we're done. I think we're done with Grogu, and the reason I think that is because as much as people want to say the premise of the show is Mando and Grogu, it's not. It's the Mandalorian, and it's about his growth and him figuring out where he stands in the world. And now that he has gotten to meet Bo-Katan, he understands that he's part of a cult, and is accepting that he can live life without his helmet and without these rules, and he's trying to figure out like where to go from here. I think it's where he goes to Mandalore and he helps Bo-Katan. And I was putting some thought into it because after the, you can't take the lightsaber or the dark saber because you have to win it or whatever story. I went back and I rewatched that scene in Rebels before I jumped onto this. And at that point, Bo-Katan already won the respect of all the other clans. So it was okay for her to take the Darksaber because it's really just the symbol of the leader, versus now where Mandalore has been shattered and she's trying to reunite everyone, and they want to reunite under a banner. And if it's just, oh, I won this Darksaber in a raffle, it doesn't really work as okay, cool, we're going to follow you because you own it. It's you have to prove yourself, and she doesn't have that story, which is where I'm understanding where they're going with it. But I think they're, at least for now, at least for a good chunk of time, I think we're done seeing Grogu. I will continue to buy more, and I will continue to make more different characters with them. And what I was saying before in chat is I have a template of Baby Yoda on my iPad, so I can sketch on other designs to go underneath it, so I can see what it's going to look like. But
create.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep making more.
I don't know who's speaking. There's a plow passing by my window, so I apologize if that's super loud.
I don't hear it.
I didn't hear it at all.
You're fine.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What?
I have a question about Bo-Katan and the Darksaber.
Me too. I was gonna ask.
Because what I'm thinking is, I'm wondering, they set her up to be, she felt like in this episode, classic Bo-Katan from Death Watch a little bit. Really cocky. I'm wondering if when he mentions that she has to win the Darksaber in a battle, do you think that the reason she's so affected by that is because she knows she knew that and she took it anyway from Sabine? And that's why she wanted to get to him so bad, is because she didn't win it. She didn't win it according to the Mandalorian law. And that's why she was so hell-bent on getting it from him. No one else can beat him. I have to beat him.
Ooh,
I would say no. I would say no. Because again, I don't necessarily think it's she has to win it in battle. I think it's that she has to earn it. And again, in Rebels, she earned it by uniting the clans and then getting it. And now she's doing the opposite. She needs to earn the Darksaber and then unite the clans. So I think it's. I don't think she feels bad.
Well,
about
watch the prior episode as well. She told Sabine in the previous episode, "I can't take that from you."
Right.
So she already did the math in her head emotionally that she can take it.
Well, Jordan looks like his brain exploded, so I gotta hear it.
This is something that like I brought up earlier, but like I didn't have the full thought, like kind of like I didn't have everything pieced together, but I kind of just I had all the pieces and just kind of like worked with what Mateus said. Moff Gideon obviously is like Thrawn, but not Thrawn. He's like a little lesser than Thrawn, but still has the mindset that he showed in Rebels. Haven't read Legends, so apparently he's a lot more than what he was, right? Thrawn knew everything that happened, right? He purposely went to fight Din, probably for the fact that he did not want to fight Bo-Katan just in case she won, have Din win, and this is all part of a master plan. Because he knows he's going to start another Mando civil war. Am I just too big, like thinking too big here? Or is it like if he knew and he knew he was going to fight Din, have Din win it back if he happened to lose, not have Bo-Katan win it back, have Din and Bo-Katan fight and creates a whole big, well, I'm going to watch my language, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess
I noticed it when I was watching, and I was just like, it didn't seem right, but now it just seems like that's what happened.
I mean, he definitely did it intentionally, but I mean, it seemed more like him just trying to throw a monkey wrench in things, not like a grand plan. But I don't know, it could go either way. But Sawyer, your thoughts? Or not? You're still muted.
Sorry. No, my headphones fell out. Okay. Okay, first of all, I think there's just absolutely no way that Gideon was the big bad. No, that's not how Star Wars goes. There's always someone else.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yes, there has to be someone else. I don't think that he would have conceded as easily as he did. Yes, he had, he tried to kill Din, and then the Dark Troopers came, but no, I think he conceded too easily. There has to be someone else. But I do agree with you, Brandon. I think the story could just end here. I think because they've announced so many more live action shows, I think it would be, and we know they're intertwining, I think it would be perfectly acceptable for each one of them to just have, 2 seasons and have that be like a group of stories that just belong together. I think that would be totally perfect. But I totally disagree with JB because we know there's going to be season 3. Disney is not stupid enough to not have Grogu in at least one more episode. They cannot. They just won't do that. Like, I really don't. Ideally, maybe no more Grogu, but I don't think. I think we're gonna have more Grogu because Disney is not gonna turn down another opportunity to make more money. So, yeah, those are my 3 main things. But I definitely think we're gonna, since it is the Mandalorian and not the Grogu, I think that something. I don't know what's going to happen with the Darksaber, but I definitely think that Din is going to have all this free time to address the fact that what he thinks he knows about being a Mandalorian is not it. And I think his story with Bo-Katan definitely isn't over. And I think he's going to have he doesn't know what he's going to do with all this free time. I think he's going to, have to deal with the fact that, he doesn't really know what it means to be a Mandalorian. And I think they're going to definitely go to Mandalore and basically everything we've already talked about. But yeah, that's all.
Well, I like it. By the way, did anyone get major Civil War vibes when it opens the door and it looks like Iron Man when he comes in to confront Captain Bucky? I'm gonna put those scenes side by side and make that.
I was thinking more Terminator. I got a huge Terminator vibe from those things, especially when he put it on fire. I'm like, oh man,
put a fire in its belly for sure. And Jordan, your predictions?
I'm just happy. This is I'm happy. I have nothing really to say besides I think Din's story's over. I think it's more of not the man. Like my personal like want is no more Mandalore. Like just make it a Mandalore show, but that's not gonna happen. I think everything got wrapped up. Like it could end here, and could be a side character in like a Bo-Katan show, and I'd be happy. Like they could end it here, honestly, and like show us in the future Din ruling Mandalore, and I wouldn't be upset. No. Like it just feels right. Like this is the end of a story to me, and anything extra is just like icing on the cake. But yeah.
Feels why they announced that season 3 was coming though. Like they knew we were going to get this ending, and so they announced it ahead of time, saying, "No, there's more. This isn't over."
Yeah, would it be like, because I know I said the Avatar thing earlier with Dave Filoni in the book, like how I'm guessing everyone here has watched Avatar.
Yeah.
Turn the Mandalorian into like an anthology series where we get the Book of Boba, the Book of Din Djarin, or the Mandalorian, I guess. The Book of Bo-Katan, and just like the Book of, and just kind of wrap it up like that. And that's how season 3 really is. It's just like 4 episodes here, there about a character, and then just be like, okay, big Marvel moment with the different books.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I think you are exactly right. Because it didn't truly dawn on me, because I'm thinking, yes, we're in season 2, but no, this was chapter 16 of this story. And it wrapped up the book. It's like if you buy the first Thrawn book and you read it, and it's a solid story, and then you can buy another book.
I think like all my thoughts were there. Everything I was thinking before was like, each of them were like separate thoughts, but I finally kind of had to think it through and just like talk it out. And I'm just looking at Avatar because obviously Dave Filoni, if you don't know, that's where he got hired for the Clone Wars, and that's how that show runs. And I think that's what we're going to get: a book of Boba Fett, a book of Din, a book of Grogu and Luke, a book of Bo-Katan, maybe Sabine, and that's going to be season 3, maybe longer, maybe 2 episodes, and then we're going to get a whole big Marvel moment of everyone back together. Even though it's not Marvel, it's just like the one show.
And what if the final episode of the next season or next story arc, when they need a Jedi to show up, it's Grogu, and he has a little tiny lightsaber?
I think that's a little too far, but I'll make a video on that theory. But like, honestly, I think that's what they're going to do. It would make sense.
Yeah, no, I can see it. Laura, your thoughts? Did I already go for you? Whenever someone turns off their camera and turns it back on, it shuffles you again. So y'all are throwing me off. But
no, I haven't. Tell my thoughts. Okay, it's maybe because I wanted this to happen since I started watching Clone Wars. I've always wanted this to happen, but I really want a piece of the Jedi, and not just the Jedi, but I want to see the spiritual thing behind it. I want to see the religions, and I think that this is going to happen in season 3, because I think it's going to be like a bridge, a parallel between Grogu and Din, because now they're kind of a family. They're a clan of 2. And I think it's probably going to be Grogu struggling with the Jedi religion with Luke, and Din trying to take back Mandalore, because I think Bo-Katan's not going to be the one to do it. I think she's going to instruct Din, and he's going to take back Mandalore. Even though I don't want this to happen, I want Bo-Katan to be my queen forever, but I can't control this stuff. So it's probably going to be that, and we will hopefully get more Jedi religious stuff and Mandalorian religious stuff, because being a Mandalorian is a religion too. And I think at the end we are going to see Grogu making the main choice of his life, which is accepting himself as a Jedi or accepting himself as a foundling, because he is a foundling, and I love that he's a foundling.
Yeah,
I think he'll choose to be both, which would bring it back to the origin of the Darksaber. I want to see baby Grogu.
Tiny.
I want to see Grogu with a Darksaber.
That would be sick.
I just want a Tar Vizsla story so bad.
Yeah, imagine if he like cuts the the kyber crystal in half to make a tiny lightsaber.
Do we know it's a kyber crystal though?
We don't know anything about it.
Interesting how they set the wall
they
on
have
fire when
It's a kyber crystal.
They have crate dragon pearls now.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was really an interesting choice that when they were slicing through the wall, instead of melting it like they usually do, it caught into flames. I thought that was like, oh, that's a little different.
Yeah.
A little some.
Also, we got new lore that that lightsabers cannot cut through pure Beskar, which is contradicted in the Star Wars book, but that's okay.
Well, still not. I mean, like they can't
Star
cut
Wars?
through, but there is a melting point because that spear was heating up.
Yeah.
You
And that's
can't just
kind of what I
slice through
thought,
it,
but
you know.
Yeah.
Also, the
It's forged
Darksaber
to heat.
behaves like that plasma lightsaber that they did recently, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, I just felt like it.
Yeah, definitely. But Travis, your closing thoughts?
Okay, so first of all, I wanted to say Luke, the fact that he looks weird in this episode, I think is a balance of the Force. Because Leia looked super weird in Rogue One. Everybody knows it. And they're twins. So I think that's totally justified. And secondly, okay, I next season I think Mandalorian Din Djarin, partly out of obligation and partly out of curiosity, he's going to find Yaddle, take her on a few dates.
Gonna wine and dine Yaddle.
You know,
here we go.
Really just
Clement's dream is coming true.
See,
get some vinyls, put on some Barry White. I got you.
Let's make another.
You know, he just really wants to be the baby daddy. We can see that's what this episode is really.
This is not the image I needed right now.
He's like a space furry, you know? The one. He's just like
this last comment.
yeah, I'm not going to
Love
say
is
it.
love. Love is love, you know.
Sounds like someone's been reading fan fiction recently.
Can someone crop this into a video for tomorrow?
Okay, so but seriously, on a serious note, I really do. I see this continuing on Din Djarin's journey. It's not over. There are some things in this episode alluding to potential things, obviously with Bo-Katan, trying to get the Darksaber back from him. And then also Baby Yoda's blood was taken. And so who has that? I mean, did he send it off to Palpatine right away before anybody got there? Like, we don't know. And so that could play into it. And then obviously also you have the Book of Boba Fett. Is that going to be in the Mandalorian series or its own series? Who knows? But he's definitely there, I think, to settle some scores. Obviously, Bib Fortuna bit the tuna. So that's a score he's settled. But ultimately, I think this is leading toward the major payoff, which is a full-fledged Salacious Crumb series.
I would die for that.
I mean, Travis, it's wonderful.
I just want Hondo.
Wait, yeah, one of the guys by what is his name? Bib Fortuna. That was Hondo species, right?
Yeah, but they're always.
Oh my god.
I would kill for a
They're
Salacious
usually-
Crumb, Hando crossover. That would be like sweet.
Can we get like a Rudolph style like stop motion animation Salacious B. Crumb, a Star Wars story?
Salacious saves Christmas or something weird.
Salacious B. Crumb. It's Life Day.
Element going forward.
Well, I kind of mixed in my predictions with my thoughts, but I do have like something to add because this show can't end here. My mind is latching on to 1,000 different story threads right now, and so I'm in a completely different mind space than a lot of what was said beforehand. I don't think Bo-Katan and Din are going to fight, just because of the fact that Bo-Katan is well aware of the cost of a civil war. She lost her sister, and Din is just not willing to fight. He was yielding for 2 minutes in that episode.
Throw it at her and run away.
And so the story thread that I'm kind of like hanging on to is, of course, going back to how I predicted it earlier, was them going to Mandalore and Din keeping his word in the deal, helping her take back Mandalore, but also, like everyone else has said thus far, learning about Mandalorian culture and coming to terms with what he perceives to be a Mandalorian. I mean, he finally took off his helmet, not just for Grogu and not just to get back Grogu. He already had him back. He took it off in front of everyone. So still a lot of character progress to go. I think if he goes to Mandalore with Bo-Katan, I think the arc that is going to happen with Bo-Katan is she sees a possible future with Din leading Mandalore, and I think what she's going to do is going to train Din to wield the Darksaber, and then, in contrast to everyone being so cynical about Grogu, y'all act like he can't visit him. Like this is the final farewell. This is the final countdown or something. I think we're gonna have tidbits of Grogu training with hopefully Sebastian Stan Luke, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. We're gonna have episodes where Din is severely missing Grogu, and there's going to be a story thread there that involves Grogu yet again, and we just don't know it yet. So I don't think the story ends quite as satisfactorily for me here if it ends here. The Mandalorian has a lot of feet to stand on, going to Mandalore, Bo-Katan and Din exploring a story with each other and the Darksaber that's not antagonistic to each other. And Grogu is going to come back. He's like Ahsoka. He left the temple, but he's going to come back, and we're going to get Lone Wolf and Cub again. It's just we don't see the thread that connects the two right now. But he's just off, and Din's gonna miss him. But Din's also gonna make his own strides in terms of character development in the Mandalorian space. So yeah.
I like that a lot. I love it because, as we saw, there's all these Mandalorians that are displaced. So what exactly, they said we're going to have to take back the planet. We're going to use this cruiser to do so. That means that the Empire is probably still there trying to strip every nugget of Beskar from it. So there is actually, like you said, there is a lot more story to go around if they take it that way. They're going to have to travel around, gather these groups, and then plan their attack to take back their world. That would just be super awesome. And as well as, there's still certainly a lot of possibilities. We need to find out how Moff Gideon got the Darksaber in the first place, what he knows, who his group that took Mandalore is. And yeah, hopefully we'll get a lot more of that going forward.